Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we have a comparison between the Bali Plus Aluminium Tsunami. Now this guy is an absolute tank. He is making waves in the balisong clone community. Ooh, that's a lovely little... He's making waves in the balisong clone community, and yeah, I mean, this guy is currently the only Bali Plus Tsunami you are able to purchase at the moment. And we're going to be putting it up against the gold granddaddy king of clones at the moment, the Bali Plus Tsunami V4. This guy is really, really good. You can see my handle gap is just teeny tiny, and I think I've always had a small handle gap. I've tried to solve it, but I think it's just an issue with the tang of my blade. It's just a bit smaller. But obviously, I got one of the first production ones, and to be honest, it doesn't bother me. So it is what it is. Don't get me wrong, I would love to have this kind of handle gap, because this is like great and that's like perfect, but you can see it's a small minor difference, but that is something to take note of. I say small, it's actually quite significant if you look at it like this. You can see there's a good kind of 3 mil, 4 mil between them. Overall though, they are pretty similar. So I guess we're going to take a little step, come down here, just so there's a nice little working area we can have here. So when you put them up, dimensionally, I believe they are exactly the same. In fact, measuring it up, I'm pretty sure they are identical in terms of the process of milling them. This one looks bigger than this one because this one is polished, and so this one bounces off light in a little bit. But yeah, the blades, literally identical. Confirmed by Bali Plus, they are the exact same blades you find, just a different steel. This is VG10, and this is 9CR MOV 18 or 9CR 18 MOV, something like that. You know, the same trainer blade steel that they use on something like the Kraken. Here is a Kraken, by the way, for size comparison, just to compare the Tsunamis here. There you go. So you can see the Kraken is a teensy bit longer. Really? I was not expecting that. Yeah, the Tsunami though, I believe, has slightly longer handles. Never mind, it has short handles and a longer blade. I guess I'm completely lost. You'll have to look at the measurements on there online. However, weight-wise, this guy, I believe, is 111 grams or 120 grams, somewhere around 120. We'll say that 100 there, 120, just shy of 120 grams. This guy is just shy of 100 grams. I did put them on my very analog scale, which only measured in 20s, so I couldn't tell you the exact weight of these guys here, because I use that scale for weighing out parcels. But yeah, basically, the titanium one is obviously much heavier. Now keep in mind, I have upgraded my titanium one from stainless steel hardware to titanium hardware with stainless washers. So this guy has heavier washers but lighter screws. That's just the one difference. And obviously I've given mine like a decent tune. In terms of sound, they're not like particularly, recently oiled or anything. And you can see there, they both sound pretty good. If anything, I'd say this guy a little nuttier. Now, I will say my sandblasted version was certainly nuttier than this. I have gotten a bit of a dud in terms of like how crazy bouncy it is, right? I'm sure you can get like serif levels of bounce here, because I had like serif levels of bounce on the sandblast version, but my polished version here is really nice, and I think it sounds quite nice. It sounds pretty close to the real deal, actually. This guy here obviously sounds, other than the kind of sound that that noise, that's pretty similar. But this has obviously a ring to it, which the real deal does not have. Oh, the titanium version doesn't have. And this is also on press fit Zen pins. So in terms of differences, right, obviously you got the blade steel. This is sandblasted, the other one is a polished blade, so there is that. That is 9CR 18 MOV, whereas this is VG10. So this is the better blade steel for EDC. You can see here's the polished finish and difference. This comes with, they both come with the Skid Industries insignia, although I think this one's actually slightly better finished, simply because I imagine this is a later production. And then in terms of the differences in the handles now, obviously the biggest difference is that this guy is channel. You can see there is no seam line, whereas this guy is chamwich. You can see there, these are like two halves of a balisong glued together. well, screwed together, I guess. And so yeah, that's why this has bottom screws, because it needs bottom screws. However, this guy doesn't need bottom screws. So if you think it's too... I was going to say handle bias, it's not really handle bias at all. If you think it doesn't have enough blade bias, you can take these screws out, and bosh, you have adjustable weights. Now this guy, you'd think, oh, he doesn't have adjustable weights, but actually he does. I mean, imagine most of you know that it does have adjustable weights, but for those of you who are new here, yeah, he does actually have adjustable weights here. You can put in 3 pins, 1, 2, and 3 weight pins per handle, so you can have 6 weight pins if you would like it to be more handle biased. I currently run with no pins, because that's just my personal preference. I actually think it could be a tad more neutral than it is with no pins. Yeah, that's real. Ooh. But yeah, that's just my personal thoughts on it. It's getting dark as well, which is really sad, so the video doesn't look as cool. I was hoping to get these videos done before sundown, but I guess not. But yeah, basically, it culminates in these two feel similar, yet distinct. In terms of flipping performance, which I'm sure is what most of you guys are here for, they actually do flip like they are the same balisong. The way that it engages a fan is still very nice. BaliPlus have been absolutely killing it with making good flippers lately. It ricochets like it's meant to. Oh, I should also say this comes with press fit Zen pins here. You can see them there. Whereas this guy's got hidden Zen pins. Over there, they're hiding away. They're just a nice pin. They are actually the same as the weight pins on the BaliPlus model. Which I think is a fantastic move to do, which I don't know why more makers don't do that, but oh well. Yeah, the milling here is on the same on the handles, you know, this sideways milling. The holes, I believe, are identical. Yeah, the holes seem to be identical. I think all the milling process is exactly the same. Here it's just a little bit sharper. And I don't mean sharper like to the touch, I just mean the lines seem a little bit more well defined. Like you can see here, you've got more of an aggressive square off there. Here it's all just a little bit rounder. And I think it's that little bit rounded to keep more material on the balisong here, because I think it needs as much weight in the handles as possible. And I think that's for its own benefit, because that means that this, despite being made of aluminium, and typically aluminium versions of titanium knives don't work very well. And vice versa, really. Titanium versions of aluminium knives also typically don't work amazingly well. However, I think that the latter is certainly superior to the former, because you can always mill out the titanium to have less weight, and you can get titanium pretty light, right? Look at the Cygnus and the Gaboon, and the Invar Gaboon as well, and the Serif and things like that, right? The top-end competitive titanium flippers, and the titanium Kraken as well. You can get them quite lightweight, despite titanium's larger density, because it's just a stronger material, even though it's more of a pain to work with. This guy here, this thing is an absolute beast of a flipper. This is by far the balisong I've flipped the most, or have flipped the most in my ownership of it. It really just does exactly what you tell it to and more. It kind of does what you want for you. It does, you know, chaplain pretty well for a balisong with no weights in. And you can see it, you know, it's no scaredy cat for chaplains. It fans like a monster. It's not the most monstrous fanning balisong I've had, but it certainly does make light work of basically every trick that you throw at it. You can see there, you know. And it'll even do, I already talked about like rollovers and stuff like that, right? Rollovers, not even a struggle. And it'll also do kind of aerials and stuff like that. It'll do parabolics, obviously. I've not practiced enough of them to be catching them on the regular like that. And there was one more kind of trick. I think the only trick I've struggled with so far on this guy would be like a cherry picker, because I'm not very good at getting this transition from there to there very good. But that's just because it's a rounded handles. Once you get it on more square ones, you'll be fine. This guy here, in a similar vein, flips very similarly. I'd say it's weaker at chaplains for sure. It definitely can't do chaplains as well. I mean, it can do them pretty quickly, but you can feel he wants to get away from you a little bit sooner. Whereas fanning wise, weirdly, it doesn't fan as effortlessly, despite having more blade weight, simply because the aluminium doesn't have as much weight at the ends, whereas the titanium does, so it carries its weight a bit more. This guy, you kind of have to curse them a little bit, but by no means is it a struggle. I mean, it's like a 10% difference, really. Rollovers, they are fairly similar actually, and aerials as well, also quite similar. Yeah, I think it's really just chaplains and fans. Fans require a little bit more work due to it being a slightly more neutral balisong with less end weight, and chaplains are just a little weaker because of the slightly more neutral balance. In terms of balance, this guy, I think, has a more preferential balance for something like technical flipping than this guy, but it comes obviously at the cost of weight and grip. Titanium being titanium, it's weirdly a much grippier material than aluminium. Aluminium is regarded as quite a slippery balisong material, but of course, this is at double the price. And of course you get the beautiful jewelling here on this guy, which I absolutely love. I love how that just plays with the light. That's one of my favourite things about this guy. That's actually what sold me on buying this thing. And some of you keen-eye viewers may have noticed, I have blue screws in here rather than my purple normal ones, because I bought purple ones, and then I got blue ones as well. And I was like, well, why not throw in the blue ones? Because I like the blue ones. And I was like, why not go back to something normal for a little while? So I got purple ones on standby, which is awesome. But yeah, they're still titanium, still look great. They're actually a bit shorter, so I think they fit a bit nicer in the handle. But overall, do I think this guy is worth the price of half that guy? Or should I say, is that guy worth twice the price of this guy? And I would say yes. And yes. This is an absolute cracker little deal, because let's say you get one of these in trainer version. For the price of one of these guys, you can then get yourself a live blade to stick on here. And I mean, look at that. There you go. You got yourself a Aluminium Tsunami V4. Because obviously these aren't in production, but I think there's still a couple of trainers of these guys left. So I think this is a fantastic little deal, especially grab the Arm Shark one. It's probably made a little nicer than the Bali Plus one. Throw this blade on. Bob's your uncle. That's something I'm even tempted to do. And I already have a V4 Nami. Like, I really don't need to, but I would love another Arm Shark Tsunami trainer. I think it would just be absolutely fantastic if it fit and they could throw this blade on. But sadly, this blade is no longer mine, because this guy has been sold, sadly. But it is what it is at the end of the day. I think this is a fantastic little balisong for those of you who can't get like a legitimate one. If you're able to get one of these, doesn't even matter the colour. Look at the pink, it looks sick. This gradient on the aluminium is pretty tricky to do, You got to like be careful with how you're like dunking the aluminium in the dye for anodization. But overall, yeah, I think if you really don't know which one to get which one you can afford, or which one you can find, because sadly, Bali Plus no longer makes this guy. I don't know if it wasn't successful enough or what, but for those of us who have them, I mean, it's fantastic. These things still go like hotcakes, kind of. But yeah, I can imagine these guys are quite tricky to get your hands on. And yeah, I'm a little concerned about that handle gap, but it doesn't seem to be going anywhere, so I just think it looks kind of goofy. I'd prefer it to look like that. That would look a bit more normal. But then again, I think the Tsunami sometimes, it just looks a little obese. I don't know why. In the closed position, it looks fine. Yeah, I just think the gaps are just a bit small. But this guy definitely does the aesthetics better. You can kind of see, despite it still looks a little bit obese, yeah, the handle gaps just look much, much more complete. But then again, even the real Tsunamis have very varying handle gaps, right? That's just how it is in real life, right? They can't all be the same and perfect, unless you're machine-wise, who have ridiculous tolerances. But yeah, I really, really like this guy, especially for the price compared to this guy. And I think that they are both fantastic little flippers. My preference obviously will be the titanium guy, just because I like the sound more, and I like that it's a slightly better flipper. And I've put more work into it, right? I've swapped the hardware, and actually, yeah, this has no original hardware in it other than the bushings. Although I'm tempted to potentially swap this guy onto regular phosphor bronze washers. It's just something I'm considering. But otherwise than that, I think that if you're looking at a Tsunami in the market and you come across one of these guys, this is a fantastic starter live blade. This flips almost like the titanium one. It's not as grippy, but it's got, all the right essences with just a little bit less of that premium touch. but it comes without the premium price tag of a premium clone, I guess. You know, still far from $800 or $700, whatever it is, right, for a real Tsunami. So I think this thing is superb. I definitely recommend pick one up. Link in the description below, in the pinned comment or whatever. I think these are cracking little bits of kit. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope I've been educational or somewhat useful for you guys today, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. All of those things help out the channel quite a lot. Consider becoming a channel member as well. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.